We out in the wild. How am I still in the sun? Wow, this chair is a hot mess express. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about shooting my first narrative piece and the things I learned along the way. Let's get into it. So diving into Glow, the project in itself was supposed to be a practice piece. The intention behind it when they first reached out to me was for me to get practice as a narrative shooter. I've never shot narrative before, and then like Justin directing another DP, he's never actually had to shoot another DP. He's always shot and filmed everything himself as directing it and being the screenwriter, so it was an interesting dynamic to get into and learn each other's communication, just kind of get in the flow of things. And inevitably, this piece went from a practice piece into going into film festivals. So let's chat about the budget. Budget for this, I don't know specifics, but I know we kept it very low budget with a very small crew, which was kind of fun and cool in itself. Working on set, sometimes the larger the crew, the harder it is to like communicate with people or even have fun in that sense. So having a small crew and a low budget and trying to like wing it and practice with each other was kind of a cool experience to really dive into and learn everyone's specialties and also like lean on people when you needed it. As I mentioned, I can post some of the webcam stuff, but like working with a new director can be very difficult as a kind of a new DP, but also like shooting a narrative piece and not really knowing who Justin was. We were friends online for a couple years, but it was an interesting dynamic that I ended up falling in love with.
Getting to work with you was like the first time that I've ever been able to see him work with an actress or an actor, right, and be able to like pay attention enough to those little like body language, like the little intricacies, because like he said, he's always just like worried about lighting and camera settings, and he doesn't have time to like think about what's actually happening on screen. So yeah, that was a really cool experience to get to see that for the first time, because him trusting you and knowing that y'all visually aligned, like your styles already aligned. Yeah. And hearing him say, it's such a relief to be like, okay, here's a mood board. I know Ian understands the general visual inspiration for the film, and being able to step out and then kind of let you make those decisions with like where, like matching the vibe of like the lighting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool because like ever since we've followed each other, I've always like followed your style, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly like this. We have the same lighting style. And I think that kind of also goes back to why I didn't like do so much pre-production, because I was just like,
you just really trusted it.
Right. I was like, he knows, he's got it.
Yeah.
And it was cool because it was even so much to where I would like, you would light things and I would look at it and I'd be like, okay, cool, let's go. It's like, you're like, no, we got to tweak one more thing. We got to do one more. You like went past what I would have even done.
Typically, I shoot commercials and I shoot with one director. Her name's Jasmine. We have a lot of fun. We flow really well together. So it was really cool to kind of experience outside of that, but also just kind of get a feel for like what it would be like to shoot on more film sets on my own, which I was not used to. I was kind of scared doing it because I've never led an entire project by myself as far as like DP'ing. And so, yeah, working with a new director can be a lot of fun. It can be challenging at times, but also it was a really cool experience, and I think it helped me grow in the long run. So I would highly recommend doing that. I know that like me and Jasmine will always work together because we're just that director DP duo that I loved a lot. But it was a really cool and interesting thing to like meet someone online, kind of feel it out, see how he likes how to shoot things, and then go from there. And I think we blossomed into something really nice, and I think something spectacular came from it, even out of practice. So I was super happy with the total outcome. I want to touch a little bit on pre-production. The overall pre-production, we prepped for the shoot, kind of. Justin had a script, he had a shot list laid out. We kind of threw some stuff into Milanote, but we really didn't go into too deep of detail. Shot listing specifics with visuals. Again, Justin and I do things differently. I like to visually have every representation and a reference to help me like guide through my shots and to move the set faster and understand that like, you know, specific things, especially narrative, like having to change lighting and understanding that like sometimes the shot list isn't linear, right? So like when you're lighting things, sometimes you have to take the shot list and kind of flip it so it curates well with like time and budget, and just being able to light that situation and then move from that situation and then light another one, because each situation you switch to and have to light, that's a good hour, 35 minutes to an hour, sometimes 2 hours depending on the lighting setup. So it's good to know going in advance to have more pre-production, and I know Justin touched on that as well in the webcam that I'll put right here.
Yeah, we didn't do a whole lot of pre-production, visual pre-production back and forth initially.
Yeah.
Which to me now, since that was like the first time I ever worked with a DP, I see the importance of it. Because usually like when I shoot stuff on my own, I know what I'm shooting, I know what I need, and I don't have to like really communicate that well to everyone else. Like it's like, okay, I know what I need to shoot, I know how I'm gonna light it. Usually Kirby's helping me on stuff, so I can like kind of tell her and like, okay, yeah, I got it. And with this, I kind of treated it the same way, and I realized while shooting that we could have gotten way more creative shots and way more shots if I would have had it planned perfectly. And that was like probably my biggest like takeaway from shooting this film.
Pre-production is huge for these things, even commercials, even short films, even for my one-off little short films for Instagram. Like I pre-pro the shit out of everything. I love visual representation. I love having a structure. It makes my edit nicer. It makes my shoot flow nicer, and it makes the overall set day just more smoother, in my opinion. So on the pre-production front, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of pre-production on my end with the director. He kind of had an expectation of how he wanted things, and then coming in there, I think that's where things kind of got slowed down a bit because we were just learning each other. But overall, I went down there, we scouted, we did a little bit of pre-pro, and they did initially come here and check out my property, and we ended up going with their property after I saw his garage, and I knew I could light that garage properly, so we ended up going that way. So that's kind of the little bit of the pre-production on the side of Glow. As far as the production day, that's probably tetanus. Oh, that's probably tetanus. I want to just touch base on the 3 blocks. First shoot day was in the house. We had a pre-light day for that, which made it a lot easier for the second day. The house was super hard to light. Going into it, I'm so used to like lighting one space or maybe a couple spaces, but with the house we had, God, I don't know, several scenes where we had to just keep moving lights, and we stayed up so long. We started, I want to say, when night fell around 7 o'clock, and we ended it around 3:30, 4 a.m.
All right, that's a wrap on day 1.
Woohoo!
Wrap on day 1.
I got an hour to drive.
What time is it?
We're at least in
3:15.
So that was something new to me, having to light way more spaces, flip the whole lighting situation for like when she turns her head. Obviously the lighting in some situations can't be the same because like she turns her head and comes around the corner, like you're not gonna have that light exactly the same. Maybe the backlight would still be the same, but the corner coming into it has to be lit differently. So there was a lot of scenes there. I think there was like 8 or 9 scenes we had to light for each scenario, which took us a long time. That was my least favorite of the day. We have some really cool shots there, but that was my least favorite, and that was also me learning the director's shoot style. The day 2 was, I think, one of my favorites. Lighting the garage in my stylistic approach to it was very Stranger Things, very A24. I love green tinted things. I love the look of A24. I love the look of Stranger Things. So I tried to light it in that sense. Not going too deep into detail on the lighting, but I top lit the workstation, and then above where the bike was, I top lit that. We had control of both nan lights and Amarants. Then I shot a nan light tube light into one corner to bounce to give some fill to the cabinets, and then we had a book light, if you will, negative and a cardboard, where we shot a light into it to just bounce some light back to really bring up the levels of the entire space. And that was really it for the lighting aspects of that. There were a couple moments where we had to like churn it, where he's looking to the door and she walks in the door, where I had to throw another tube up because it made sense. That light was coming that way. But that was one of my favorite days. I think we got some really cool Stranger Thing looking vibes, and we got some really good daylight situations. So also in that same area, I had to lift the garage up and let some light leak in. And then I had to make it feel daylight. So there was a night scene and a daylight scene, which was fun in itself. And then opening the garage and having the headlights for an anamorphic lens was really cool. And then day 3, I think, was the funnest day. Chasing sunset, where we went outside and we were chasing the car, we were shooting drone, we were shooting golden hour, blue hour. Those are just like the best looks when it comes to getting really nice, soft looking, perfectly exposed skin, perfectly exposed highlights, having that really nice skin tone. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We all felt like it was a wrap day. We were just all having a blast, really vibing after day 3. Everyone was flowing well. Practice became so easy in that sense.
If you feel it, chase it! Whoa!
And then coming back on day 3 to wrap it, we had to light the garage again. Kind of the same lighting setup, very, very similar, so I won't go into that much. but those were our 3 days besides the pre-light day. The camera we used was an FX6. I think it made things go a lot smoother. It helped in low light situations. And it's just really versatile. Like the FX6 is an amazing camera. And we put some Blazar lenses on that, anamorphic. I knew Justin wanted to shoot anamorphic and I wanted to shoot anamorphic. All in all, the Blazars did give us a nice look, and I love the barrel distortion, but it did kind of cripple us in some senses to having some images look softer than I want that I wish I could get back. I want to just touch base on here at the end. I just want to touch base, like as a DP going into a new space, new director, filming something new. I think like being versatile is important. Leaning on the people that are good or leaning on your team, super important. But I also think there's moments where hitting record when the director is not paying attention and getting like magical moments that are happening on set because maybe he's talking to, you know, the talent or maybe one of the talent and discussing like the lines, hitting record, or like not cutting when the director's cuts because you see those magical moments, or pushing back. Like pushing back with a new director or any director, sometimes it's like, hey, I want your vision to come to life as much as you do, but also like, I think this will be better from a visual standpoint. Like the idea is great, but like where you have me set up or what you have me shooting is kind of shit, and you hired me to do a job. So I think pushing back, I think shooting sometimes when the magic moment happens on set, and I think like rolling after they say cut sometimes is important because things linger, and things after the cut, when the camera cuts, things happen that you would least expect it. And just giving your own visual interest, your own thought process, and like shooting the way you want to shoot, the style you want to shoot, because at the end of the day, they hired you to come on set and you to perform. I just want to touch on that. So I hope you have a great time watching this. I hope it made sense. Maybe it didn't. Who fucking cares, right? We're all just like chilling in the yard. But at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun. I'm having fun making these. I'm having fun just like shooting the shit with y'all. So I hope you appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.